No, the X-Men were named for the X in Charles Xavier. Since I am Sheldon Cooper, you will be my C-Men.
Hi, this is Artective, and today I am joining forces with the Y Men, that is the YouTube men, to take up the One Excellent Scene Challenge, where YouTubers give their take on one favorite scene from anything X-Men. I shall be dissecting the incredible montage sequence from X-Men First Class, a masterpiece of a superhero film directed by Matthew Vaughn that literally reignited the X-Men franchise with two spectacular films and two not so spectacular films. So let's dive in and explore how the filmmaking enhances the quality of the characters, the music, the pacing, and the story itself.
This is yours. No, it's ours.
The entire film has been building up to this montage. The film before the montage has the mutants scattered, scared, and disjointed.
I expect more from you.
They haven't explored their full potential. They're afraid of their powers. They're afraid of who they might become. They're afraid of hurting others and afraid of letting the past consume them. Which is where Charles Xavier, the most powerful and accomplished of all mutants, comes in to reform them in his very first class, which will also birth the first class of the X-Men, hence the title. The training montage is literally the film's title, signifying the major character development and tonal shifts that will affect the entire outcome of the rest of the film. The title is also derived from the comic book it is loosely based on. Speaking of comic books, the initial striking detail in the montage are the transitions, aptly mimicking the comic book panels. They perfectly align with the action unfolding on screen, like transitioning to a rectangular door as it opens, or to the squares of glass panes as they shatter. Transitions may be comic booky, but it's not all style, no substance. There's also the transitional shift in the characters themselves. A shift where they finally discover their true selves.
I will teach you to control this, Alex.
You could divide the film into two sections, one before the montage and one after it, and literally see how dramatic a change the mutants have gone through. And this is all thanks to the classic setup versus payoff story structure, where you set up a plotline,
mutant and proud,
only to pay it off eventually with a memorable bang.
Mutant and proud.
And the setup is done in a way that all the plot lines, although different in story, are connected thematically.
You know you can deflect it, then you're not challenging yourself. Whatever happened to the man who was trying to raise a submarine? I can't. Something that big? I need the situation, the anger. No, the anger's not enough.
For example, we begin with Eric, whose rage is holding him back. He can dodge a bullet, but not his troubled past. We then transition to a similar mutant, Alex, who is held back by fear of hurting other people.
You know, when I do this, bad things tend to happen.
It's because you can't control it. It controls you. That's why we're here, Alex. That's why we're training.
Then we come to Cassidy, aka Banshee, who is probably the most normal of the bunch, but doesn't know how he can contribute to the group.
But this, it's like any other muscle in the body. You can control it.
Before eventually coming to Hank, who is holding back from what he might become, locked in an eternal struggle of to be or not to be.
And it's that struggle which is holding you back.
Oh, Jekyll was afraid of what he could be capable of.
You are too.
Or rather, to beast or not to beast.
On your marks?
The montage has now set the stage,
It's set.
and we now enter the training phase. We see the mutants fail again and again and again. We see their own vulnerabilities in action, but it is still disguised under this amazing comedy, both verbally through exciting character interactions.
You need the sound waves to be supersonic. Catch them at the right angle and they should carry you.
they should carry me. That's reassuring.
Good luck.
And don't forget to scream.
And visually, particularly in the use of invisible comedy, where we don't see a certain action happening. And this is exactly what makes it funnier. we can see how the scene strings together all of the mutants' failures, attempts, and their inevitable successes together.
If you like those, all you need is a red nose. Right, Bozo?
Imagine if Alex's entire sequence, right from his failure to his success, is then followed by Banshees. It will feel like Alex's and Banshee's training are different. If we mix their sequences together though, there's not only a beautiful poetic sense of accomplishment, but we actually feel like Alex and Banshee, although training differently,
You're serious?
are still working towards the exact same goal.
Am I still a bozo? Yes, Hank, you're still a bozo. But nice job.
And this training is also true for Raven, a mutant with complete control over her powers, but still untrained in accepting that very control. Up to this point in the film, Raven has been desperately hunting for support. First in Charles, who initially accepted her for herself, but as the years passed, he got defensive, did not welcome Raven's little stunts,
Right.
so as not to blow her cover, and hence no longer wished Raven's true form.
Yeah. God's sake. Raven, where are your clothes? Put some clothes on.
He loved Raven, but society would never accept her, so he built walls to protect her. Unknown to Charles, this very act turns Raven rebellious. The confused Raven next tries to find solace in Hank.
So your mutation is what? You're super smart?
He inadvertently pushes her further in accepting her true form.
I wish that's all it was.
But because of his internal struggle of to be or not to be, he pulls her back. Eventually, Raven faces Eric, who completely accepts her for who she truly is,
If I look like you, I wouldn't change a thing.
and even challenges her like Charles challenges his first class of mutants.
If you're using half your concentration to look normal, then you're only half paying attention to whatever else you're doing. Just pointing out something that could save your life.
Now, why is all of this relevant? Because a scene, or in this case the training montage, is a part of a whole, or in this case the film itself. A great film always has every moment, every scene, every look, every emotion adds something to the overall experience of the film,
You want society to accept you, but you can't even accept yourself.
or push the story of the film forward meaningfully. The training montage is exactly that. Most of the setup established in the first half of the film is paid off,
Whatever happened to the man who was trying to raise a submarine?
while simultaneously setting up new character development that will be paid off in the final showdown. And it may not seem like it, but the division between Charles and Eric begins to take shape in this montage. How? Well, Charles breaks the ice, making Eric discover his true powers. That inadvertently opens up his pent-up hatred for the fear-mongering humanity, a sentiment that passes on to Raven, finally ending her own internal conflict. This is ironic given that the training montage is the first time the mutants finally see eye to eye, but in their own individual journeys, they discover their true calling as well. Charles's calling was to start his own school for kids with special abilities. Eric establishes his goal of bringing the mutant revolution. Raven is inspired to spread the message of acceptance to any troubled mutant she can find. And Hank's use of his intellect aids mutants through clever tools like Q does in James Bond. This is literally the foundation upon which the entirety of X-Men is built upon. Now, of course, it's not fun if you translate these themes visually through performances, editing, dialogue, which is all good, but you can also do that through music as well. which is exactly what composer Henry Jackman did in predominantly 3 ways. Jackman uses a lot of electric guitar that, apart from sounding extremely cool, also plays around the fact that the mutants are something new, something refreshing, as opposed to the traditional orchestra that takes up more than 70% of the soundtrack. This is highlighted further by the fact that this music choice is extremely unusual for the 60s era the film takes place in. The sound of the guitar is very sparse in the first half of the film, but finally gains prominence in, you guessed it, the training montage. A scene wherein the mutants finally unite, explore, and evolve. And with the mutants is evolving the X-Men theme itself. As the mutants make progress, so does the main theme. We get to hear the first of it during Alex's first run. Which flows into Banshees, but the theme is still not completely clearly recognizable. It's just there, trying to find a footing before fizzling out too quickly, like doubt pulling the mutants back in. We finally get the first true glimpse of it when Alex starts his training, hopeful that it will finally come together. But there are short pauses between every beat before eventually dying out with Alex's failure. The theme tries to soar high in the sky once again, without any pauses this time. As if the music and Banshee will probably make it. But there's another important thing the music is doing: the timing. In technical terms, the small bits of the main theme we heard to this point have been playing in double time. But as the mutants finally begin to succeed, the music gradually slows down in speed, piece by piece, bit by bit, before reaching half time or half of the speed to give that epic sense of total victory. In a 2011 interview, Jackman said, "What's ironic in X-Men First Class is that the mutants do have superpowers, but because it's a prequel, they are not a team. They are disjointed and don't know what to do with their powers. Some of them don't even want to have them." While I at first thought to have the score start off with truly heroic music, Matthew and I decided it was better to save that moment for later on in the score. To do that, I stretched out the main theme in halftime, which gave the score a sense of striving towards that big Superman moment. The music is a destination for the characters to find their powers. It's pregnant with superhero potential, yet it isn't too sure of itself.
See that? Try turning it to face us.
And can you guess who is also not sure of himself? To give the training montage that powerful bang, legendary film editor Lee Smith, yes, the guy behind literally all Christopher Nolan films, makes a conscious decision of beginning and ending the montage with Eric to make everything come full circle.
You know, I believe that true focus lies somewhere between rage and serenity.
As previously established, the montage strings all the failures and successes of the mutants together, and that same treatment to Eric's character is the big cherry on the cake. This is the final punchline that gives away what actually is holding every mutant back: rage and serenity. The rage is the very power of all mutants, but serenity is how the mutants wield it, control it, accept it, and execute it. Charles has finally succeeded in teaching this philosophy to his first class of mutants, and the montage has been building up like a crescendo as he teaches his final student.
What did you just do to me? I accessed the brightest corner of your memory system. It's a very beautiful memory, Eric. Thank you. I didn't know I still had that.
Everything from the sweet guitar sound to the slowed down music to the character development is about to reach nirvana in what is one of the most memorable moments I have personally witnessed in any film. Hell, even Michael Fassbender's powerful performance is about to be paid off when you realize how he initially uses two hands with extreme rage before eventually being able to master his powers with a serene flick of a single palm.
Well done.
I do like the X-Men.